In the quiet after your absence, they'll come to understand the depth of what they've lost. Often people move through life unaware, glancing past the rare souls who give more than they take, who bring light to ordinary moments. It's only in the quiet of that loss that they'll realize you weren't just part of their life, you were a vital piece, a gentle guide, and a mirror to something they neglected within themselves. People move through life with a natural, almost reflexive, tendency to overlook the everyday wonders around them. Often the depth and value of what's closest go unnoticed, blending seamlessly into the background of routine and familiarity. We get accustomed to the presence of certain people, their kindness, their support, their understanding, and we assume that this presence will always be there, as constant and reliable as the sunrise. Yet in this comfort we seldom stop to truly see the remarkable qualities these people bring to our lives. Consider a close friend or a loved one who shows up, listens without judgment, and holds space for us during difficult times. Day by day, their compassion and warmth may start to feel expected, even ordinary. The reality is that over time, we begin to overlook the magnitude of their impact because it blends into our lives so seamlessly. They become woven into the fabric of our days, familiar as our own breath, and the depth of their presence and their value gets tucked away, rarely acknowledged. But then, life shifts, and these people, these steady, irreplaceable figures, are no longer there. It is only in their absence that we realize just how much they meant, how integral they were to the rhythms of our lives. Absence is a profound teacher. When someone leaves, we're left with empty spaces where they used to be. In those spaces, we begin to notice the subtleties we once took for granted, the calm they brought during our storms, the way they lifted us when our spirits were low, or simply the sense of security their presence provided. Without them, there's a void, a sense of incompleteness, and in that void, we finally see the true weight of what we had. We come to understand that their value wasn't in the grand gestures, but in the quiet, consistent way they showed up for us every single day. This realization can be as startling as it is humbling. Often we're not aware of our own blind spots until they're illuminated by loss. And it's not just the grand qualities we miss. It's the little things too, the knowing smiles, the reassuring nods, the shared silences. All of these small but meaningful gestures are what create a person's unique imprint on our lives. In their absence, they become glaringly noticeable. Only then do we see the beautiful, quiet ways they added depth and richness to our world. But the irony is that by the time we truly grasp this value, it's too late to express it. The regret that follows becomes a painful reminder of our tendency to overlook the importance of the people who bring ease and stability to our lives. This isn't necessarily a failure on our part, but a common human trait. We often see the world not as it truly is, but through the lens of our expectations and assumptions. We assume people will always be there until they're not. So as we move forward, the lesson left in their absence encourages us to be more present, to recognize the gifts in others while they are here. It's a difficult lesson, but a profound one. Through the pain of their absence, we begin to truly appreciate the gift that they were, realizing that true value isn't always seen immediately. It becomes clear only when we are forced to look back, with a depth of awareness we didn't have before. In that looking back, we learn to hold close those who remain, knowing that true value is a treasure best cherished in the moment, before it slips away. In a world that constantly pulls our attention outward, it can be easy to start defining ourselves through the lens of others. Approval and validation from friends, family, and society can feel like confirmation of our worth, and criticism or rejection can sting as though they reflect some lack within us. But true self-worth does not fluctuate with the changing tides of others' opinions or perceptions. It is something intrinsic, unchanging, and deeply personal. When we rely on external validation to feel valued, we inadvertently place our sense of self-worth into the hands of others. This leaves us vulnerable to every passing judgment, every stray comment, every unspoken expectation. It's as if we're handing over the keys to our self-esteem, allowing others to decide whether we deserve to feel good about ourselves or not. But no one else can fully understand the depth of our experiences, the intentions behind our actions, or the nuances that make us who we are. No one can truly see our inner world with the same clarity we do, nor can they grasp the entirety of our journey. By recognizing this, we reclaim the power to define our own worth. Relying on others for validation also creates a pattern of self-doubt, as we may find ourselves constantly adjusting and performing, hoping to fit an image or ideal that we think will earn us approval. This cycle can be exhausting and ultimately unsatisfying because the validation we receive, while momentarily reassuring, doesn't address the core of our insecurities. Instead, it keeps us dependent, always looking outward to feel complete. Real self-worth is not about satisfying others or meeting their standards. It's about understanding our own values, our own sense of integrity, and living in alignment with those. Building self-worth means embracing both our strengths and our imperfections. It's about looking inward with honesty and compassion and accepting that we are worthy simply because we are. This kind of self-acceptance allows us to withstand criticism without losing our sense of self and to accept praise without becoming dependent on it. It frees us from the need to impress or please everyone around us and lets us focus on growing in ways that feel true to who we are. Self-worth rooted in self-awareness is resilient. It doesn't crumble under criticism or inflate with praise. Additionally, when we let go of the need for external validation, we give ourselves the freedom to pursue what genuinely fulfills us rather than what earns us approval. We can start making choices based on our own values and desires, not on what we think will be accepted or applauded. This creates a deeper sense of purpose and joy, as we find fulfillment in being authentic rather than in fitting others' expectations. We become empowered to set our own goals and measure our progress by our own standards. The process of realizing and embodying self-worth is gradual, and there may be times when we falter. Doubts and insecurities are natural parts of being human. However, as we commit to valuing ourselves independently of others, we strengthen the foundation of our self-esteem. We learn to approach life with a sense of inner stability, knowing that our worth is constant and complete, regardless of how others perceive us. This understanding brings a profound peace and confidence that no external approval or rejection can shake. We learn to value ourselves for our uniqueness, to accept ourselves fully, and to know that our worth in the end is ours alone to define. Regret is a powerful and often uncomfortable emotion, yet it has a unique way of illuminating truths we may have overlooked. In many ways, regret acts as a mirror, reflecting back to us aspects of ourselves and our choices that we didn't fully understand or appreciate in the moment. When we experience regret, it's as though we're given a second chance not to change the past, but to see it with clearer eyes. This reflection can reveal insights about who we are, what we value, and how we wish to live moving forward. At its core, regret often emerges when we realize we didn't fully acknowledge or honor what mattered most to us. Perhaps we took someone or something for granted, missed an opportunity, or acted in a way that wasn't aligned with our values. In the aftermath, when the moment has passed, we're left to confront a lingering sense of what if, or if only through this lens. Regret shows us the areas of life where we were either inattentive or misguided, helping us to understand the gap between our actions and our true desires. Regret also has the power to reveal deeper layers of ourselves, things we may have neglected or undervalued within. When we look back and feel sorrow for something lost or unfulfilled, that sense of longing often points to a part of us that we hadn't fully recognized. For example, regret over a relationship that ended may uncover our need for genuine connection and acceptance. Regret over a missed career opportunity may reveal our longing for purpose and self-expression. These insights help us understand ourselves better, highlighting the values and priorities that may have been hidden beneath the surface of our daily lives. One of the more profound aspects of regret is its ability to teach us compassion, not only for ourselves but for others. When we reflect on our own missteps, we gain a new perspective on the mistakes others make. We start to see that, like us, people are often acting within the limits of their own understanding and experience. Our own feelings of regret can remind us of the common humanity we share with others. Everyone, at some point, grapples with decisions that they wish they could change. This awareness fosters empathy, allowing us to approach others with greater kindness and patience. Regret, when fully faced, has the power to fuel growth and transformation. It can motivate us to make different choices, to be more intentional, and to live more consciously. Each regret serves as a reminder that time is precious and that our actions hold weight. This realization can inspire us to become more mindful of the present, to appreciate the people around us, and to seize the opportunities that align with our values. By learning from our regrets, we transform them from sources of pain into catalysts for living a life that feels more authentic and fulfilling. Regret, then, is not something to be shunned or suppressed. It is a natural and meaningful part of the human experience. When we allow ourselves to look into the mirror that regret provides, we confront both the choices we've made and the person we've become as a result. In doing so, we gain a deeper understanding of our own values, limitations, and potential. Rather than being a source of shame or sorrow, regret can become a guide, showing us where we went astray and pointing us toward a future where we can live with greater alignment and purpose. The gift of regret lies in its honesty. It doesn't lie or sugarcoat. Instead, it asks us to confront reality as it is, helping us to see the consequences of our actions without judgment, but with clarity. This self-reflection is not always easy, but it is ultimately liberating. By facing our regrets openly, we integrate them into our story and use them to shape a wiser, more compassionate self. Through this process, regret ceases to be a burden and becomes instead a mirror, one that reflects not only where we have been, but also the direction in which we are meant to grow. When we're close to something, whether a person, a place, or even a way of life, it becomes challenging to see it objectively. Our familiarity with it clouds our perception, and the little details, both beautiful and flawed, often blur into the background. It's like standing too close to a painting when our nose is pressed against the canvas. All we see are individual brushstrokes, with no understanding of the broader picture. But when we take a few steps back, that distance reveals perspective. What once seemed ordinary or unremarkable takes on new significance, allowing us to appreciate aspects we previously overlooked. Distance, both physical and emotional, serves as a powerful lens for self-reflection and understanding. When we step away from someone or something, we gain the ability to assess it without the biases that close proximity often fosters. We can look back on interactions, choices, and experiences with greater clarity. In relationships, for example, distance often sheds light on qualities or actions we may have ignored or taken for granted. The support of a loved one, the joy of shared moments, or the subtleties of companionship become more apparent when we are no longer immersed in their constant presence. This space reveals the quiet ways someone might have shaped our lives, leaving an imprint we didn't fully realize until they were gone. In many ways, distance has a way of amplifying value. When something is a part of our daily experience, we tend to view it as a given, an unchanging aspect of our routine. Yet when it's taken away, the absence creates a void that makes us acutely aware of what we had. Think of the old saying, "You don't know what you have until it's gone." It's a universal truth rooted in our tendency to only see the depth of meaning in something, or someone once they are no longer readily accessible to us. This newfound awareness can often lead to a profound sense of gratitude, a realization of just how deeply intertwined someone or something was with our sense of happiness and fulfillment. Distance doesn't only bring insight into what we miss, though it also illuminates what might not be working for us. Being too close to a situation can sometimes trap us in cycles of behavior or thinking that aren't beneficial. Taking a step back can reveal patterns or dynamics that were unhealthy or limiting, but that we were too close to see clearly. With distance, we can more easily see what isn't aligned with our values or desires, and we gain the strength to make changes that are healthier for us. It's a form of self-liberation that comes from the space to breathe and reflect. Distance allows us to reconnect with ourselves. When we are constantly surrounded by people or immersed in routines, it can be easy to lose sight of our own needs and identity. Taking time away from familiar environments or relationships can offer the opportunity to reconnect with who we are independently of others. It creates space for self-discovery, for rekindling passions, and for understanding our needs on a deeper level. This time spent with oneself can be deeply healing and grounding, leading to a stronger sense of self and a clearer vision of what truly matters. Distance teaches us a balance of appreciation and perspective. It encourages us to value the people and moments that bring richness to our lives, while also understanding that sometimes we need space to truly see them for what they are. It's a paradox of human experience we sometimes have to let go or step back to fully embrace and understand. This process of creating perspective through distance enriches us, enabling us to hold on to the things that matter with greater appreciation, and to let go of what no longer serves us with confidence. Distance in this way becomes not a separation, but a bridge connecting us more deeply to the truth of what lies within and around us. Letting go is a deeply transformative act, one that requires courage and a willingness to trust in the unknown. We often cling to things, people, or ideas out of fear, habit, or the comforting familiarity they provide. But in holding on too tightly, we can hinder our own growth and limit our potential to experience life more fully. Letting go is not about forgetting or disregarding what we've loved or valued instead. It's about releasing our grip, allowing for the possibility of change, and creating space for new opportunities and insights to enter. There is immense power in letting go, because it allows us to move beyond attachment and dependence. When we cling to things out of a fear of loss or uncertainty, we limit our own freedom. We become weighed down by what we feel we need to keep close, whether it's a relationship, a particular outcome, or even a version of ourselves we've outgrown. Letting go is a deliberate decision to free ourselves from these constraints and to trust that in release there is renewal. It's the acknowledgement that we don't have to hold on to everything tightly to find meaning or stability. Letting go also teaches us the art of surrender. Life is unpredictable, and despite our best efforts to control every aspect of it, certain things are beyond our influence. When we practice letting go, we're essentially surrendering to life's natural ebb and flow. We acknowledge that while we can influence our circumstances, we cannot control them entirely. In surrendering, we experience a kind of liberation that comes from accepting reality as it is, rather than fighting against it. It's a powerful realization that peace is not found in holding on, but in embracing the impermanent nature of all things. Letting go creates space for growth and transformation. By releasing what no longer serves us, we allow ourselves to evolve. Often we hold on to outdated ideas, unfulfilling relationships, or limiting beliefs simply because they're familiar. But familiarity is not the same as fulfillment. When we let go of these attachments, we open ourselves up to new perspectives, experiences, and possibilities that we may have been previously blind to. In shedding the old, we make room for the new, allowing ourselves to explore paths that align more closely with our present desires and values. Letting go also allows us to experience greater resilience. Life inevitably includes moments of loss and change, and if we cling too tightly, we're more likely to feel destabilized when these shifts occur. By learning to let go, we develop an inner strength that helps us adapt with grace and flexibility. We become more resilient, understanding that while things may come and go, our sense of self can remain intact. This adaptability allows us to find peace even amidst life's inevitable changes, knowing that our worth is not dependent on external attachments. In relationships, letting go can be a profound act of love. Sometimes we hold on to people out of a desire to protect or support them, even when the connection no longer nurtures either person. Letting go in this context is not an act of abandonment, but a recognition that sometimes people need space to grow on their own. By releasing them, we give both ourselves and the other person the freedom to find a path that may lead to greater fulfillment. This process often brings clarity, helping us to see that true love is not about possession, but about honoring each other's journey. Letting go is a powerful act of trust, trusting ourselves to navigate what comes next, trusting life's ability to unfold in ways we may not yet understand, and trusting that by releasing what we once held so tightly, we're making way for something new. The practice of letting go teaches us patience, resilience, and acceptance, transforming us into more open, flexible, and self-aware beings. In choosing to let go, we embrace the power of impermanence, finding strength and freedom in the unknown, and allowing life to flow naturally through us rather than holding on to things with the force of resistance. Silence, in its purest form, is often misunderstood. It is seen as a void, a lack of sound, an absence of expression. In a world that values constant communication, noise, and interaction, silence is often perceived as uncomfortable or even awkward. Yet within silence lies a profound strength that transcends words. It holds the power to heal, to clarify, and to center us in ways that words alone cannot. Silence is not a mere absence of sound, it is a space where understanding, presence, and self-reflection can flourish. The strength of silence is found in its ability to create a deep sense of connection. When we are silent, we give ourselves and others the gift of presence. Silence is the language of being. In conversation, silence allows room for thought, for deep listening, and for true engagement. Rather than filling every moment with words, silence lets us absorb what is being said and what is unsaid. It invites us to listen with more than just our ears, but with our hearts, and in that space of nonverbal exchange, we can often understand more than we could through words alone. The power of silence in relationships lies in its capacity to communicate empathy and understanding without the need for elaborate explanation. Sometimes simply being present in silence with someone is the most powerful thing we can do. Silence also holds the power of introspection. In our busy lives, we are constantly bombarded by external noise, whether from the demands of work, the chaos of daily routines, or the noise of social media. This constant input leaves little room for inner reflection or clarity. Silence provides the opportunity to withdraw from the noise of the world and turn inward. In moments of quiet, we reconnect with ourselves, our thoughts, emotions, desires, and truths. It's in silence that we can hear our own inner voice clearly, without the interference of external opinions or distractions. This inner clarity is a source of strength, as it allows us to make decisions that are aligned with our true selves rather than being influenced by external pressures. In silence, we find our center, reconnect with our values, and gain the mental space to act with intention. There is also quiet strength in the power of silence to create boundaries. In many situations, silence can be a subtle but firm response to situations that require space, reflection, or distance. When faced with conflict or overwhelming emotions, choosing silence can be a conscious choice to avoid escalating tensions or reacting impulsively. It offers a moment to gather thoughts, regain composure, and respond with calmness and clarity. In this way, silence becomes an act of self-control and emotional intelligence. Rather than engaging in harmful or reactive behavior, silence allows us to respond thoughtfully and with purpose. Furthermore, silence often speaks louder than words when it comes to expressing strength in the face of adversity. There are times when silence becomes the most powerful form of resistance or resilience. In situations where words fail to capture the depth of pain or injustice, silence can communicate strength, defiance, or mourning in ways that words cannot. Think of the solemnity of a moment of silence in tribute to a loss, or the quiet dignity of someone enduring hardship without complaint. These moments convey volumes of strength, showing that there is power in endurance and quiet defiance. The strength of silence is also found in its ability to foster peace. When we are surrounded by noise, whether internal or external, it can be difficult to find calm. Silence, however, offers us respite from the chaos of the world. It creates a space for stillness where we can relax, recharge, and regain a sense of balance. In the midst of silence, we can restore our sense of inner peace, recalibrate our energy, and reset our minds. Silence then becomes a tool for emotional and mental well-being, a sanctuary from the noise of life where we can find tranquility. In every form, silence is an unspoken strength. It is not the absence of communication, but a powerful mode of presence, reflection, and control. Whether in relationships, personal growth, or moments of resistance, silence speaks volumes in its capacity to connect, clarify, and heal. It invites us to listen deeply, to pause and reflect, and to respond with intention and purpose. It is a tool for inner peace and resilience, one that holds the quiet yet undeniable power to transform the way we relate to ourselves and the world around us. In essence, silence is far from empty. It is a force in its own right. Through its capacity to foster presence, encourage introspection, establish boundaries, and express resilience, silence proves to be a profound strength that shapes our interactions, decisions, and sense of self. It is in the quiet moments that we often find clarity, understanding, and peace. By embracing the power of silence, we allow ourselves to connect with others more deeply, listen to our inner voice, and navigate the complexities of life with greater intention. In a world that constantly demands noise and chatter, silence offers us the space to reflect, recharge, and grow, ultimately revealing its quiet but undeniable strength.